Welcome to this video on hiking in Yosemite. We're going to cover a couple of trails in this video.
It will also cover accommodation and much more. Seasons to hike.
I've been hiking mostly in the summer in Yosemite, and I've been twice. And my husband's been two other times. He went in the fall and the spring, and you can see some of the fall pictures over here, and then you can also see some of the spring pictures. The only thing about hiking later in the fall, because he went around Thanksgiving, there was snow on the ground. And so probably in the early spring as well, that could be an issue. It can be a bit slick, so having good shoes and having walking sticks can really help. But the views, like tunnel view, you can see tunnel view here, it's gorgeous. And even in the early evening, you just see that beautiful, those waterfalls coming down.
So now that you know which season you want to travel in, you can think about accommodation. So for our first trip, we went and we booked on bookings.com. But on our second trip, we camped. And you could see our campsite over here. That's the rental car that we used, or two rental cars, and we had two tents. And you can kind of see the campsite like out there, the picnic bench and everything. But here's a close-up of the fireplace. And we brought our own camping chairs, as you can see. Our tent, one of the tents back there. And you can see the picnic table. Now I'm going to show you how to book a campsite.
Okay, so if you want to use recreation.com to book a campsite, you can see this is what the page looks like. So you can see you can log in, and I've logged in over there. I'm going to click on camping, and you'd be able to search for campsites basically here. So it says where to. You would say you were looking for a campground in Yosemite. You could basically look it up here, and yeah. You could basically just click enter. If you just put the national park, you go with the dates, and then as you scroll through, you'll see you might need like a pass to get into the park, so you could buy the pass. But that doesn't mean, like, you could use, if you have like the annual membership for all the parks, you can use that. It's just in the summer that Yosemite may require, and they have in the past, they've required that you actually include, like, book or reserve a spot, like the time that you might enter and the day. And yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to be the same in upcoming summers, but it has been the last few summers. That's the way it's worked. But if you have like a camping pass, basically you've booked to camp there, you wouldn't need to like have a reservation for a particular day to enter. And all like reservations for entry is on this website. The campground we stayed in, Bridle Creek Campground, this one didn't open until a bit later in the spring, because we were going in the summer, so in the spring we booked. So you have to kind of book up ahead for some of these. This one is not actually in the Yosemite Valley, which is where a lot of people like to camp. It's along the river, along the creek rather, and this one is actually up in the mountains. It's about a 45-minute drive from Yosemite Valley, so that means it's a 45-minute drive from the trailheads for many of the hikes. Not all of them, because there's a Bridal Veil hike that starts near this campground. But yeah, I think it's just important to know that you are going to be a bit of a drive, even though you're inside of Yosemite Valley, or rather Yosemite National Park. You're not near the valley. You still have to drive. And yeah, that's how it is. At least you don't have to enter through the parkade. And yeah, just a straight drive within the park, just going downhill because you're up in the mountain. Okay, so it's a bit cooler than the valley, and it's also not noisy. So yeah, campground 4 is on the Yosemite floor, from what I understand. Lower Pines campground, some of those are on the campground on the valley floor. And so those would be closer. But getting access to those, or being able to book those go within minutes. Like, I really would get a notification, basically, because like you can sign up for notifications on those websites if you can't see the dates available that you want. And I would get a notification, and I was booking a few months ahead. And like, we're talking April, May. for August. I was looking for the August um, bookings because we were going in August. And so you can imagine, I was looking so far ahead and I still wasn't finding anything. And immediately, I swear, like people got notifications and I guess they booked the sites immediately. I would see it maybe, 30 minutes later or an hour later, and I would go in there and it'd be gone. So um, you're looking way ahead with some of those, whereas some of the other campgrounds open it up a little bit later.
So you've landed, you've got your car, and now you are going to need to get some camping supplies. You're on your way to Yosemite, and I did bring a whole bunch of camping things inside 3 big bags on this trip. But there's still some things that you need that you can't take with you. For example, like the gas cylinder for your cooking. So you can stop at Walmart like we did and just grab those things and some food because there isn't a lot of food in the park other than some restaurants. So make sure you get a cooler or and you'll be able to buy ice at um, the visitor center. There's a park shop, and they do sell ice there as well. Okay, and water is available in the park, so that's not an issue.
When you're in the park, you might find it difficult to find parking. There's a lot of parking on the side of the road, but especially if you arrive like between 7 and 8 a.m. After that, it gets very tough to find parking. So when you're coming through from the entrance that's Mariposa side, you will end up going through like forest or woods, and you're driving through Yosemite Valley. You will end up at tunnel view, and there is a lot of different stuff to do that's in terms of driving. So you can also see Glacier Point and Lower Yosemite Falls. These are all accessible by car. However, for Lower Yosemite Falls, you're going to need to get out of the car and just walk a 1 mile loop or less, I think. But yeah, enjoy what you can do by car because the rest is going to be hiking. There are so many beautiful hikes here in Yosemite, and we're going to talk about them.
The first one we're going to talk about is Upper Yosemite Falls. And this is a pretty decent hike in terms of it's pretty hot. Or I felt like it was the third hike we did back to back in the park. And like, yeah, you can see Upper Yosemite Falls here. So you saw the lower early, you can do the drive to Lower Yosemite Falls. And then for actual hiking, this is what it looks like from the top of the falls. In comparison to the Mist Trail, I'd say the Mist Trail still wins, but I mean the waterfalls are still beautiful. We sat on the top of the falls. You can see there's like a little area to swim. Yeah, it's nice, but it's a pretty long hike, and if it's really hot, just be aware of the fact that it's going to be quite steep and challenging. Next up, we have the Glacier Point hike. So at the time we went, there'd been a fire, so the Glacier Point, like parking, place to park, you wouldn't and drive up, that wasn't available. So we actually hiked up, and there is a way to hike up to Glacier Point if it's something that you prefer rather than driving up there. Yeah, I the views are spectacular. I'd say it's worth the drive, but I felt like the hike was quite demanding on a very hot day. Otherwise, just take a lot of water, and there wasn't a lot of shade on this particular trail. You can get a really good view of the valley and also Half Dome from this point. The final hike that I'm going to talk about, and this is, I think, the best hike that everyone has to do if they visit Yosemite. Like, if you do just one hike, you're going to do the Mist Trail. Okay, and this you can see in the background is Vernal Falls. And Vernal Falls is a first hike that you'd see on the Mist Trail. It's called the Mist Trail because, like, all these waterfalls are so powerful that you get pretty wet when you're down there, and you will see, like, in my pictures that I have quite a bit of mist on me, a little bit. It looks like sweat, but it's really just the mist from the falls. And yeah, they just gorgeous. I think some of the most gorgeous waterfalls that I've seen. I've seen some others. I've seen Niagara. I've seen Victoria Falls in Africa, and I love Victoria Falls. Probably one of my favorite falls. But Yosemite is just filled with multiple falls, and this trail is epic. It just takes you on another level. Um, to just you just feel really good hiking this trail. So yeah, you can just do the mist trail part. You can have, lunch at the top of some of these waterfalls, and you can see this is at the top of Vernal Falls. You can actually go sliding down. We did this. I saw a sign after we did the sliding that we weren't, you're not supposed to go over the rocks, but many people go over the rocks there. And then the next falls is Nevada Falls. And then you can turn around. Some people turn around already at the bottom of the Vernal Falls, but we carried on up to Nevada. And then after this, you kind of make a turnaround, or if you're doing Half Dome, you can kind of carry on after that. And so that's the Half Dome extension that I'm talking about here. So Half Dome includes the Mist Trail. Okay, so you might be kind of a little bit lost in the beginning, but there's a good signage, and this is what Half Dome looks like. And when you're up there and you're climbing, basically, you can kind of see the people climbing up there now, in those shots. And that was us, like, we at first were looking at it and going, how is that even possible? And then, yeah, I would suggest having like clips, like, basically, so that you can climb up there. We had gloves, and some people like basically because it's like pretty much like I think 45 degrees. It felt like 90 to me. It can get very slick, so make sure your shoes are good.
The hike took us a long time. We started like 7 a.m. and we finished like at night. So pace yourself, and don't take breaks that are too long. And yeah, it's a beautiful hike if you do all of Half Dome and back. But there's also an option to camp halfway along. But then, of course, you have to carry camping equipment with you. So if you try and do it, start earlier rather than later. Start like at 6:30 or something, and try and keep your pace up throughout so that you could finish it within 12 hours. I think we did 14, which is a bit much.
And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for watching. Bye.